All right, so it's me, Bruce, and I'm joined by Master Waltzing, and we're getting started with a new role-playing campaign I'll put up on my YouTube for other people to catch up if they want. And we're calling it Power Gaming Beta Weasels, because I have no idea beyond that where we're going.
Sounds
Um,
fabulous, and I'm excited to
yes,
play.
I put a link to join in the Discord chat, general Discord chat. But I can certainly copy and paste it over into Messenger, where I think more people pay a little more attention. Oh, excuse me. It has been a balmy day.
Indeed.
Huh. So I know that Roseboro's out.
It looks like Cookman just saw the message that you just linked up. And Cookman is out. So it just looks like it's me.
So yeah, if you join the game, so invite. Well, I actually have to have people's email address for that, so we do have to use the link.
I am inside the Roll20 game, as far as I can
Okay.
tell.
There you are. Welcome to the game, sir.
Hello, hello.
And let me get those pesky display names. Graphics. Text and chat. No. It's been so long since I started a game. I'm trying to figure out how to get those huge, the huge video stuff, personalization and display. Oh. Yes. Goodness gracious. I'm such a Luddite,
It
it's
used
hilarious.
it used to be under like token and like avatar, but I don't see that in the settings area anymore.
Nope. Audio and visual. Um, video display. Avatar size. Names only. There we go. That only took me way longer than it should. Um, oh yeah, and then I could turn off the audio and visual for that. None, none, chats, no video audio. to ease up on my bandwidth consumption. Yay.
There we go. All right.
All right. So, since the boys don't get a vote because they didn't show up, I was kind of doing at least one campaign in another setting just to stay sane. And
For
I'm gonna
sure.
have to
That
order.
sounds awesome.
I was gonna head out to get pizza, so I'm also gonna have to like order food at some point here. But we should talk about what kind of adventure would you like? So, first question, and I guess I'll type these out. So, question one, established setting or new story? Like, would you prefer to play in a game whose books where you've already read the books, or would you like to be part of me just completely trying to make a setting that I want to tell stories in, that I want to maybe write a book in?
I would love to work on a new setting. I would love to pretend to be a new adventurer walking into this new setting, this new place, this new planet, and learning and problem solving from there.
Okay, new setting. Genre. So, sci-fi, kind of space. So I tend to write urban fantasy. I tend to write science fiction, and then I kind of obviously I kind of do kind of high fantasy, like the two wrote books.
Hmm.
Um, and and those are kind of the genres that I roll around in. Which of those appeals to you most?
Well,
And of
I'm
course,
a science fiction and high fantasy, and I enjoy both of those very much. So um, I I don't know. It's a toss up for me between high fantasy and science fiction. I'm not sure. I could say which one is my favorite.
okay.
So
Which
I
one?
could flip a coin. I could flip a coin. I'm gonna
Ah,
flip a
we're
coin.
putting it in God's hands.
Yep. I'm gonna flip a coin. Oh, the only coin I found in my desk drawer, I have a Canadian nickel. Why I have a Canadian
Oh,
nickel, I'm not sure.
so it's corrupted. It's fake. It's corrupted fate.
All right.
I heard Canada described as America's evil top hat.
Evil top hat. Oh, funny.
Yeah, well, they're like arresting pastors and and euthanizing people left and right. So
Evil top hat. Funny, funny.
yeah.
Okay, so maybe not. Oh, here's better. Here's better. Okay. I have now found an American half-dollar piece
Yay.
with John F. Kennedy on the head. So heads, we've got science fiction, and tails, we've got high fantasy. Flip the coin, and I got heads, science fiction.
Science fiction.
Science
Okay.
fiction. Are you getting, Bruce? Are you getting background noise on my side?
I am not getting any background noise on your side.
Okay. All right. I was just checking. My the rest of my family's watching a movie, so I was trying to make sure that that wasn't coming through too bad.
All right. And
I'm glad to hear this. Not.
if you want to do like movie time, that's cool too. I
No, man.
no, I
It's
want
good.
to escapism. I would be
Yep.
the cause of the problems. Okay.
For sure.
Um. All right. Um. I have been kind of working on a science fiction-ish setting. I've got some ideas that I can put together.
Sweet.
Um, some of it
Let's do it.
actually does kind of pull from some of the stuff, some ideas from Darkblade.
Okay.
Um, so we're gonna make you a character sheet. And I need the character to have a name. So why don't you create a character? Can create a character sheet and we will get started that way. Um, I wonder if I have the Dresden files handouts that we can just work on. That would be hella useful. Because they have the whole world building. I think if I minimize it, then my recording goes away. So I can't do that. All right.
So I have the Dresden Files Fate Core based role playing game, or the Dresden Files role playing game,
Yes.
on the
We
Volume 3 Paranet papers.
well, actually, I'm looking for something else.
Okay.
So let's see here. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to just where'd it go? That is not what I want. For some reason, Windows 10 defaults to um, Windows 10 defaults to wanting to use OneDrive, to use the cloud instead of actually using um, instead of actually wanting to use files you have on your computer. And it's a temptation to use profanity.
I see.
But I did not ask it to use.
Well, if you're in the Fate Core, like, if you just click on characters, you can create the new character creation sheet right inside the Roll20 app. You just
Okay,
create like
so
character idea, high concept, trouble,
you've
adventure,
got
phase one. Well,
Gretum Fodge.
I literally just clicked the button, create character, and it auto named it. I have no idea.
Okay, so
I hit
let's
it
work on him.
twice. All right, we can change his name if we want.
And we can use Dresden files. That's fine. Or we can use Fate Core and then steal stunts and stuff from Dresden files, which is also fine.
Sounds good.
Okay. So, the principal problem. So I want you to pick a name that could come from Earth for your character. So, what's in the edits?
A name that could come from Earth.
Yeah. Your character starts off on Earth in the early 21st century or late 20th. So, 1990s, 2010, up to like 2010.
Okay.
But yes, it's a sci-fi story.
Okay. How about I was looking at the most popular names in the 1990s. Did you know that the most popular name in the 1990s was Michael?
Yes.
Uh,
I uh towards the end of the 1990s and through like every other person I knew was Michael. It was not just Michael, but like Michael John.
yeah.
Eyes.
Yeah. So
That's
we're not gonna pick Michael. We're gonna pick
yeah, I didn't specify what
Alec.
continent. Any I just needed to be ter terrestrial. And
All right.
America's a great
So
melting pot, so
Alexander,
okay.
Alexander, and then I'm gonna
Alexander.
pick um, Alexander, Alexander, there, Alexander Weber. German surname. With that Greek.
How does my so Alexander Weber. Okay. Um so for phase we're gonna keep the phase stuff in because we can just use it.
Okay.
And so every character in this setting, every significant character in this setting was a criminal. Like a lock them up, we throw away the key criminal.
Okay.
At an early stage of their life. So, you know,
You're not talking about like older Bernie Madoff kind of people, like older criminality, but like young people doing dumb things and generally causing the worst possible things they could
I
have. And
um you have to have committed a crime, and I'm not going to specify what type because that's totally up to every player. That of the likes of which that if you disappeared from the face of the planet, cough, 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 no one would notice or care. Right? So you're not spending, you're not doing 3 years for drunk driving. You did. We're talking like minimum like 10 to 20-ish for sentences where a whole generation passes before you get out anyway.
oh, sure.
So you need to have committed some kind of significant crime. Mind you, history demonstrates that what is a crime and what is not a crime varies wildly in different people's beliefs and thought patterns. You know, um,
Hmm.
and so this is one of those things where, as a good GM, I need to shut up and let you use your imagination to come up with a reason why your character was imprisoned somewhere on Earth for 10, 15 plus years.
Okay, so I think that if we're thinking of like the early, the 90s, early 2000s, if I think of like something that somebody could really like disappear, um,
Well,
I
I'll
think
give this
perhaps
away. Part of the sci-fi setting, we could just.
I was just
Do
thinking
you want
that,
to like?
you know,
Do you want to like role play through parts of your background? We've got the time. There's not nobody else is waiting for their turn. Um, what's doable. But um, because for everybody in the story has the talk, which is they're in prison, they get pulled into an interrogation room, and a strangely dressed person who doesn't seem quite right starts, informs them that something significant about their life circumstances has changed. So,
okay.
but
Well, actually,
first you
I'm
have
thinking
to
about
be.
there's a number of things that are happening, like in the early 2000s. I'm thinking about the whole Iraq war conflict and the other things that are happening
There's
around the
Iraq,
world.
there's Afghanistan, there's the war on
There's
terror,
there's
there's
Somalia.
sub-Saharan Africa has multiple coups and revolutions. Um, there's Department of Homeland Security getting things right sometimes, wrong sometimes, and protests about that. There's the further expansion of the Mexican drug cartels going on during that period. Um, there's a number of political revolutions in Central and South America, some soft,
Hmm.
some not so much.
Well, there's
Um,
even the Boss conflict, and
mhm.
there's the Sri Lankan civil war, and Thailand. Uh, yeah, there's a lot happening. So I think I'm gonna pick. There's a he is someone. Maybe there is a.
And
Uh,
I'll throw a bone because you're a white hat kind of guy. I'm the guy who rolls around with criminals for his ministry and stuff, and you're the opposite in terms of how you try to impact society. So, I didn't say you had to be guilty. I just said you had to be in prison.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So that fits perfectly in with what I was thinking about doing, is that if this particular person of Alexander is actually in Somalia prior to the outbreak of the civil war, and he is trying to help Somalia, which is a failed state. It's broken. It is having, ongoing continuous problems for who knows how long. And then the war and the civil war breaks out, and he gets caught in the middle and accused of causing war crimes by one side or the other, and he gets put in prison for his part in the Somali conflict, even though he's not really guilty. He was there, he was in the middle of it, and he is accused by the American government of participating in the Somali civil war, or the war in Somalia, and this massive atrocity that happens in there with the death of, however many dozens of people in a particular village. And yet he was there to help. He was not part of any of the insurgency or any of the war. He just happened to be the scapegoat for said problem. But the U.S. and the Western world sees him as the head of this horrible atrocity in which, several dozen people were killed in this war, and that he is directly responsible.
Okay. Um, so You were um, a merc, a veteran, how a failed aid, an aid worker who got in over his head. How did you how did you get, you know,
I would say he was a
what's your
veteran who was trying to he was in trying to be uh, an aid worker. He was trying to bring aid kind of as a third party independent person because he felt that he could do it better with his connections than or just because his drive of getting to Somalia and trying to help the people, but he wasn't necessarily as part of one overarching um, organization, right? He had an idea. He said, "I want to help. I want to do this. I've seen it." Maybe he was part of a military operation that had taken place, and he understood the area prior to service. Getting out of the service, wanted to help, went there to help. So he's got military background. He goes there and is wrapped up in this without the government really understanding what he was trying to do because he was doing it kind of on his own.
Sure. Let's put a face on that. How do you feel about orphanages and trying to rescue a bunch of trying to get a bunch of war orphans out of town?
I think that works perfectly because the number of things we've seen with Somalia and African conflicts of soldiers going in, or even Afghanistan or Iraq, and they're going in and they're trying to save children, and I think that works. I think that definitely works.
Okay, so you tried to save some orphans, and did you get them out, but not yourself, or you just kind of you you were wounded and captured? What are we thinking? Like how sadistic are you willing to be to your character?
I
Always
think
a
he was.
relevant role-playing question.
I think if we're talking about somebody who the world, maybe the society would radically turn on and say that if he disappeared for 30 years, nobody would care and nobody would miss him. Is he went to try to get the orphans out, and in the process of trying to get them out, they all died. They all got killed, and because of conflict, so he was trying to get them out. He was trying to bring them out of the conflict, and instead of bringing them out of the conflict, he put them right in the middle of the conflict, and they ended up getting killed, and he got wounded and injured but not died, and then the got directly blamed as a childhood killer. Instead of being thought of as a hero, he was blamed directly as, you just went to go kill them, not you went to try to save them.
Okay, pick a special forces branch that trained you. Delta, SEALs,
Mm,
you want to go outside of the United States, Action Direct, who
I
made you such a badass that you thought you could go single-handedly bring out, 40 orphans that you are accused of murdering in public?
Delta,
Delta. Okay, that puts you at about 28.
a Delta Force.
Delta operator. Tried to save an orphanage run by your childhood best friend in Somalia. Kids died. You were you were near death, but survived only to be framed for the massacre and imprisoned. Then you were recruited. All right, so let's go through. You're going to be my beta tester for what I refer to as the talk. And
Okay.
the talk goes like this. You are brought into um, are brought into a an interrogation room,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a pair of armed guards who aren't paying any attention to you. Well, I mean, they're there, so you can't get frisky. And there is a pale gentleman in a gray suit,
Okay.
um, who just looks wrong. You can't tell specifically what looks wrong about him, um, but the wrong is it's like nails on the chalkboard, just in the back of your head.
Okay.
You're not
So
quite sure why.
immediate Alexander is like, something's wrong here. What's going on?
Yep. And he has a strange accent. It is neither French nor Bantu. Um, so that's different, right? He's not a Swahili, he's not a he's it's not a Swahili accent. I think that's the right language. And this is so impossible to keep track with Africa, honestly. It's like Ghana has 170 plus languages in it. Like, sheesh. Um, so he informs you that you have been that the People's Liberation Front of the great valiant of the valiant Somali people have has come to an arrangement regarding your status.
What kind of arrangement?
You will be relocated to a new facility. You are going to be relocated to a new facility effective immediately. And the and in exchange for your participation, the Somali government has to your relocation, you will no longer be under the custody of the Somali government, which he assures you can only be an improvement of your current situation. You've only had to kill like five different prisoners with your bare hands in self-defense since you were in prison, so you'd probably agree with that.
Where will
I
I
think it
be
gets
going?
those details will be revealed to you. Those details will become clear when they become relevant.
And who are you?
You may call me Mr. Scratch. I am a negotiator for people who uh, value your skills and abilities more highly than elements of the current regime.
And why should I go there? Why should I? Why should I listen to you and believe you?
Your credulity is irrelevant to the matter at hand. This is merely an informational. This is merely a dissemination of information. You have been informed as to the change in your disposition, and the uh, the Nomian alliance um, has completed its obligations under general Terran concepts of informed consent. As a prisoner, your consent is negated, so only the information was required. This concludes our formalities, and he places what looks to be like a gray marble on um, on the table before you. Do try not to resist. It's much more efficient this way. And there's a flash of light, and the world goes away. Um, so it turns out that the Somali government has sold you to aliens in exchange for various different governments of Earth are selling people to aliens for various and sundry technological boons or assistance that they couldn't get. Um, and they sell prisoners because nobody cares. Um, your family will be informed that you died tragically in a prison riot, and you're done.
Well,
Yeah. And that's day one.
that doesn't feel very nice. Governments of the world selling prisoners to aliens.
I thought it
Sounds
was
very
I had some libertarian issues with it. Yeah,
sounds that sounds kind of wrong.
I would agree. And yet, you don't get a lot of you don't get a lot of say in the matter. So,
Right, for sure. Okay.
and the Nomian Alliance are big believers in ruthless and ironic justice. Everybody hates them.
Ruthless and ironic.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, if you were an arms dealer or you were embezzled, you would be given galactic levels of technology and implants to make you a better clerk. And you would be sold at a store. You'd find yourself like being a galactic. Uh, you'd find yourself being like a galactic accountant. You know,
S-
um,
So
if you
galactic
were
human trafficking.
um they're they're not you were your sentence was commuted to a life sentence in space, and they're just equipping you to serve out your involuntary servitude, which is in fairness, you were found guilty and convicted, so by the laws of your own world, you are schmuck, and whatever happens you doesn't matter. You know, and they're not punishing you or refusing the law. They kind of worship the idea of law. Without the holographics, they're about 5 feet tall and have shark faces.
Wow. Okay. That would be terrifying.
Well, I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, so there's an idea in theology, lex semper accusat, that the law only always accuses, right? The gospel, we find mercy in the gospel and only condemnation in the law. Um, and I was like, how could I sum that up in an alien race? Something that only bites at you. And it's like a shark. So they're shark people. They're all about justice without any, hyper intelligent. These people think the Saw movies is what you watch on date night. Yeah, torturing because those movies are all about torturing criminals to death in patterns that match their uncaught crimes. So they've been striking a bargain with Earth's government, with Earth governments to sell them, to buy people in exchange. So like, this is why we got, we got, we sold like, 20 gangbangers and we got Velcro to help solve some problems for the space program, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So kind of one of the ideas is that the big technological explosion of the last 100 years has not been a coincidence.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. Um, basically the Roswell crash was um, the Roswell crash was the beginning, and everything since then has been part of this deal. So now we get into some, so if you were a vicious legalistic sadist, and you had your character, once again, I think that's my food arriving. You know, how would you gear you up? Oh, every day is an adventure. And yourself? Keeping busy on the holiday weekend? Yeah. All right. You have a good. No, I'm good. Have a good. Dear Lord, for this food and everything else, I give you thanks. Amen. Nom 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 nom. All right. So I can have Domino's. It's not super expensive, but it's not super high quality, and you get what you pay for. Anyway, so the Namian Alliance would modify you with galactic technology so that you could serve out a life sentence, recapitulating or repaying or using the things that made you a terrible, no good, very bad convict against you. So
That
it's either like
so
a
it
total reversal or an ironic use of your criminal tendencies. And what would that look like for you? And this is kind of how we get to what are your powers?
I don't know.
So you'd be kind of a super soldier, I'm thinking.
Probably.
Okay. So let's go over to Fate Core. All right.
You're talking
To
about that
the corp the
irony,
asp
the ironic, harsh justice. Yeah, he would probably, unfortunately, be one of the maybe super soldier enforcers almost.
and and use you as expendable trooper. Oh,
Right.
yeah. Somalia. When did Somalia flip? Was that the early 2000s?
Uh, the Somalian conflict started in like 2000. Somali War was in 2006.
So,
Um, but then yeah, it looks like there was a Battle of Mogadishu in '93.
oh, I remember that one. Oh, brother.
So there's been lots of um, lots of conflict in Somalia since then. Yeah, but it looks like online it says the Somalia War really began in 2006.
So there's Super Soldier U, and you use your shock trooper as shock trooper Sierra Oscar Mike 2008 Victor 733 Tango. Um, uh, licensed to the Valorian Empire in Sector 7. So let's Super Soldier U. Skills and stunts and stuff. We're starting off great. Well, you want to just like steal the build of you want to just, but unlike Star Wars, you do get powers,
Okay.
right? So it's not just not, so we can't just like take one of our clone troopers and slap that build off of you. So that would be pretty badass, but we could actually, because nobody says your armor has to be external. We could do a cyborg clone trooper build and be done with you real quick.
Could do a cyborg Sarge build.
Oh, that's mean. I don't think you have enough refresh to be Cyborg Sarge. You know, but yeah, because we're starting off back at great, the great, good, fair kind of a thing.
Right. I see
So
that.
we're
Yep.
so aspects. Why can I not add aspects? There we go. High concepts. All right. Cyborg, super soldier. All right. So post-American cyborg super soldier. Trouble aspect.
Post American. He's still like through this whole thing, this whole super soldiering. Will he remember?
Oh yeah, they don't take away your memories. If they took away your memories, you wouldn't suffer.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, forgetfulness. You know, the old is one of the old ancient definitions of heaven, right? You drink from the waters of Lethe and you forget all your troubles before you go on to Elysium. Or just kind of frolic and play among the flowers,
Sure.
which I always found ironic. I love how inevitably destructive and murderous demonic false religions are. You know,
Mhm.
where even their version of heaven involves destroying everything that makes you, you know, who you are and who God made you and what you've done. They have
Mhm.
to really cackle at that action. You know, Buddhism is the same thing. If you try really hard and you're really good, you can cease to exist. Yay! You know, yep. Doctrines of demons. Annihilate me! Annihilate me! Ugh. All right, so post-American cyborg super soldier, we will save your trouble aspect because you don't know how bad you have it. So we're back to the phases. So let's give you, yeah. So phase one aspect would be, yeah, that post-American cyborg super soldier. All right, part two. So phase two is while you're out there super soldiering, we can't actually have you cross paths with anyone, but you get sold actually. So the Valorian Empire are pretty much good guys. Um, they're very honorable. Their deal with the Nomians basically works out to be like you can't get a passport, but other than that, you're pretty much free. If you can earn your freedom, or you can hold such a job that they just have to make you free in order for you to carry it out, which is
Okay.
definitely the case for you. So what what would be interesting, bittersweet accomplishments, your character is innocent, is a falsely accused innocent person who gets turned into, a shock trooper commando in a space empire, for the next 70-ish years. Don't worry about the aging thing. One reason why the Namians sell make bargains with humans is because they're so easy to modify.
Okay.
So, what would be an interesting highlight of your human lifespan, right? 70-ish plus years with the Namians.
Where there's so many things that you're talking about an entire galaxy.
I know, right? So you have been Buck Rogers, to in to the extreme.
Sure. And so as a
Well, Buck,
shock trooper licensed to the Valorian Empire, where is Sector 7? What are you say the Valorians are pretty much the good guys, but they're in Sector 7. Where is
so
he?
Earth is on one of the Earth is like 30 degrees or around the galactic rim from Sector 7. And the Empire at its height, ruled 1,000 star systems. But one thing that makes the Valorians worth fighting for, and is um, kind of a comfort to you in your exile, is that empires tend to do one of two things. They go the way of the British Empire, which is they live up to their ethics and decline, or they go the way of like the Byzantine and Ottoman empires, where they just kind of rot and decay and become corrupt in unfathomable, to unfathomable depths, where they redefine those words.
Okay.
Um, and the Valorian Empire is shrinking. You know, it used to be the power in the galaxy, but they decided to continue to be the good guys. So now they're not. I
Okay.
mean, they're down to like 200 star systems. But like Britain, it's got the problems that they have a bunch of former colonies that are constantly failing at the trials of life and breaking down into civil war. I mean, honestly, I can't say that the decolonization of sub-Saharan Africa by the Germans and the British was a good thing compared, given everything that's replaced it.
Sure. Well,
You
but
know,
yeah, yeah,
but they wanted to be free, and then it's a really tough call.
right. So I mean, irony, ironic, justice, but you're also asking about something positive, essentially, on his.
Notable.
Maybe not positive, but like remarkable.
It's
Say that again.
yes, something remarkable or notable.
Uh,
You know,
Perhaps
if
he because a super soldier and his Delta background with what he was trying to do, maybe he was able to participate in protecting a area of the Valorian Empire that was wanting to be more free. Like I'm thinking of like India, as India was becoming free, and having now they have conflicts with there's ongoing conflicts with China and Pakistan and Afghanistan and these ongoing conflicts in that region, and maybe he was part of a massive battle for a system that was wanting to be a free system, and he helped spearhead a major counteroffensive within that, back by the backing of the Valorian Empire to keep that system free and continue on the progress of them being the good guys and decolonizing. Bringing that kind of American ideal of something he still continued to get to do, even though he's exiled from his planet.
okay, how shall we put this? So, feel free to. I don't know if my sheet actually updates as you type. I don't think it necessarily does. But yeah, feel free to kind of write that out for your phase two, and we'll pick an aspect to it. You were able to, know, save a couple thousand kids. You know, I through your battle prowess, etc. So, or star system, or space station. Let's go with space station. So,
So saying something like during a during the
let's say just
um,
unrest or conflict. We don't have to. We can flesh that. We've got the rest of your character's life to flesh that out.
sure, during a conflict in a star system, moving to be decolonized with the assistance of the Valorian Empire. Alexander spearheaded a offensive to protect a space station in the system that included mm, medical assistants, and um, orphans of the current conflict. That work?
That works great. And aspect, let's go with the war hero of XO9. We can tweak it later, but I want something that that kind of shows you've got a heroic code of ethics, and you can also use in a fight.
So, war hero of, what did you say?
I don't know.
So,
Make up a space station name, whatever you want. I was just kind of winging it and said XO9, but whatever. Insert name here. Catchphrase. Um, all right. And now we come to the fall of the Valorian Empire. So the Valorian Empire.
oh, I think did I lose you, Bruce?
I'm just typing. Valorian Empire was
Oh, gotcha.
betrayed from
Okay.
within and fell within weeks of brutal fighting, of brutal lightning fights across 200 systems. How did you survive? What would you have been doing? Would you be part of like the last stand of the capital planet, or you know,
Good question. I was think that shock trooper war hero, um, during the fall, he would want to, yeah, he would be on the home planet of the Valorian Empire, and he would be um, trying to save as many, not only of his own troops if he got to that point, but he was also maybe trying to, thinking of his background, trying to get civilians to be saved as well. So maybe in the defense of his planet, he was able, or that planet, the home planet, he was able to take many of his troopers and civilians and successfully hide, successfully evade, capture, evade the maybe planetary bombardment by.
no,
Um,
there's no bombardment. It's a straight out conquest. It's not a destruction.
okay. So I would say, yeah. So the conquest, then he would be was able to find some of his find a place to hide and keep his troops and some civilians safe on the planet, on the Valorian Prime, where there was the conquest.
Okay, and you were still fighting gun in hand to protect them when the Emperor's death at the hands of the traitor was broadcast along with the surrender order at the fall of the Empire. And so at that point, the the only way to at that point, the only way to save more lives was to surrender.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll call you the unconquered protector of the innocent. Most American cyborg super soldier, we should probably going to be your high concept. Well, we'll roll with it. Okay, so let's go back over to core and start building you some stuff. So we can throw in one more for a different on the character sheet. We can replace. We've got post American cyborg super soldier twice. We can throw something else in there, and I still have to finish your story. So here's what your surrender means. You have been um, uh, you are unsold, right? Your license is expired, and so they throw you in a crystal pod, and they shoot you back to Earth. Travel times being what it is, it's going to be about 100 years. Since you left.
Okay.
So you spend 17 of those years doing the Voyager thing. You know, being butt naked in. Have you seen? Did you see Demolition Man, the old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that, but a sphere. And so you're part of Starfall. So the Nomians, um, the Nomians punish Earth, right? Because they're about ruthless. They're about ruthless justice, and that even people who deal with them are still guilty of dealing with them. So their punishment for Earth 100 years after you get sold is they pack up all of Earth once they're done brokering the deal. Once they're done brokering the deal, they the deal itself was evil, and shame on you because they don't believe in such a thing as entrapment. Um, and so the punishment for Earth is they plan to destroy it by giving all these enhanced a century of plus of enhanced superpowered criminals, and firing them all back onto Earth's surface, and returning them to Earth society.
Well.
And so you're one of that tens of you're one of tens of thousands of sold criminals who are you know shot back, and you spend about 17 years trying not to go insane, floating through space in near total sensory deprivation. Um, like those little ice cube prisons in Demolition Man, and Then you do the asteroid thing, and you hit, and the sci-fi crystal material evaporates, and you're back on Earth.
2106
Sure.
or 21. Well,
In the
100
mid
years. Well,
2100s.
mid 2100s. We'll say that.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So it's very dramatic. As you get closer and as you get closer to Earth, you can see there are like orbiting cities, and the moon in the parts of the moon that are in shadow glow with cityscapes. There's obviously been a lot of technological advance and achievement. Um, but in order to not break their word, the Namians have declared Earth a prison, so that they're not actually freeing any of you before your sentences are up. They're just transferring you to another prison, and so they have like little space buoys out past the Oort cloud that will alert them if anyone tries to escape from prison, which will bring about the destruction of Earth.
Oh.
Because you were so high, because you were so highly placed in the you were so highly placed in everything, in all of the councils. You alone are aware of this, or you're one of the few people who kind of heard that part of the plot. Most of the return of the Starfallen criminals. So the adventure would kind of start with um, where would you like to land on Earth?
Oh. Can I throw a dart?
Right. So you want to roll a percentage? You want to roll a D100, and if it's over 70, you land on land.
Yeah.
We're filling your trouble aspect as Starfallen hero with a savior complex.
Ooh. Oh, I like that.
And for post-American cyborg super soldier,
The savior comp. I love it. Okay, that's great.
Navy SEAL war criminal.
It was a Delta Force.
Oh, Delta Force, sorry. So you were a Delta Force war criminal. All right. So now let's build you some stats and some characters so I can do terrible, horrible things to you.
Oh
So
my
what do you think of
gosh,
the high concept of my upcoming book?
I actually really like it a lot. I really do.
The
Um,
working title for the first book is going to be Starfallen Gospel.
I think that it is very is very good. Is very good. I like it a lot. Lots of opportunities for being able to use current events and things to build backstories and take maybe even real people, real real characters that are based on real people and extrapolate things. And also I think there's so many opportunities for what happens in the rest of the galaxy, what happens with the Nomians, what happened to the Valerians, what are these things, and then all of the stuff that's happening on Earth itself, and then the opportunity of, well, why is it a prison planet, and what happens, and so many opportunities for being able to take that to different levels.
Oh, Earth isn't the only colonized planet. It's just the only one you flew past.
Right. I mean, I'm saying, like, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm taking a little bit of Batman Beyond. I'm taking a little bit of Blade Runner. I'm taking, a little bit of Les Mis with Jean Valjean. Um, which means I'll have some Javert. And we'll see. We'll see what we will see. But yeah, now we can. Now that you kind of have an idea of how you fit in to the Valerian Empire, because everybody's got to be involved with the fall of the Valerian Empire, because the fall of the Valerian Empire is why people come back to Earth, right? It's like, so the characters are all are all Valerian prisoners, or former Earthlings who've done you know anywhere from 3 months to 3 generations of service in some form in the Valerian Empire after the Nomians modified you and are now being returned in the phenomenon that the Earthlings the media starts calling the Starfall, because 10,000 shooting stars.
Sure. Okay. Sounds awesome.
So let's build you. Now, do you want to just go grab? Like, it's up to you how much of your stunts and stuff are going to be powers, and how much of you how cool it'll be to just be a Clone Wars, clone trooper level. All your powers is what an incredible badass soldier you are. You know, any blend of the above. You can go anywhere from full RoboCop to like Batman.
I would love there to be like those clone trooper aspects, but then also putting some other powers in there as well. Not necessarily like not like Jedi powers, but um, depending on what your universe or what your creation has for when you think of powers. Are we talking? Are there magical style powers, or are you thinking of just purely like tech based powers?
So you're a nano. You are a nanite based cyborg, right? Or you're kind of like halfway between RoboCop and Wolverine. You know, where most of your technology is woven around your skeleton, so it doesn't get in your way. But it does stuff.
Sure. Okay. Well then, like the like things like super healing, um, and maybe super strength, not just um, the
So
clone trooper.
in human strength, in human healing,
Yeah, and then I think the other
those are
some of the other
those would
aspects of
probably yeah those are 2 refresh each, and you only have 5. And I have plans
okay.
for 3 of them. So let's if you look at Dresden Files, when I'm thinking super soldier, right? Um, what I was thinking stunt wise aspects. Cyborg senses, notice, reception, thermal, EM.
Or like the Delta Force stuff, maybe having built-in, um, built-in HUD, like inside his eye, his vision, where it's all everything is instead of being a helmet, like his HUD is inside his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we're kind of going a little more Batman with a couple other touches, things that go border over into superpowers. So thermal EM, telescopic, low light vision, and interactive display. Booger. We might have to up the power level a little bit because I want more. I want a few more. I want a few more stunts to build you the way I want to build you as a character. So, this action. You got cyborg senses. You got like thermal EM, telescopic, radio, low light, that kind of a thing. All right.
Nice. Okay.
What if we do a so inhuman recovery would cost 2. So for now, I don't think I can give you everything. Uh, so is it better to be strong, fast, or strong?
Oh gosh.
Right.
Uh,
The endless martial arts debate. Here we go.
Gosh almighty, Bruce, you'd ask that
Because
question.
if I give you inhuman speed, then you get the kind of initiative boost that that the Lasat had in Star Wars, where you get +4 to initiative, you can move an extra zone, that kind of thing, and +1 to dodge for your defenses.
Yeah, but if you hit somebody hard enough who's fast, when you hit them, they don't have to be fast anymore.
Or stop being fast for a while. I saw a
They
great
stop being-
video on the. I saw a I found a great video on the anatomical origins of liver shots and why they're like instant knockouts.
I would love to see that.
Well, I'll dig around. I'll share it with you. It's interesting. It's not something I would go for outside of life or death because it's one of those things where like, yeah, you hit them just right and they just drop. Of course, you hit them a little harder than that, and that organ fails and they die. And you're just like, oh,
Right. Right. Yeah. We have a few techniques in that are liver shots, and it's like to be careful with how you teach that or who you teach it to. Um,
yeah.
I yeah. Okay. That that's why we took most of our 3-2-1 steps, which are very very brutal and very destructive, and put them in black belt material.
I'm going to cheat and we're going to do this Dresden Files. We're going to do this at the full 9 refresh set. The 10 refresh, 9 stunts. So
Oh, okay. Um,
then we can do
okay.
cyborg senses.
I think speed,
Um, it,
honestly, like if between the two of like super strength or super speed, I think speed. I think like inhuman speed. Because if you take something, I was saying it actually yesterday. I was talking about um, the motorcycle rider was riding a like a Kawasaki Ninja, like a super fast sport bike with a helmet, and he was going way way too fast. And this was a long time ago. I heard this story, and he ran into a hummingbird. Like the hummingbird was flying at him, and he like hit it, going
oh,
way
dead
way way
hummingbird, and the
faster.
hummingbird went halfway through him.
Yes, the hummingbird went through his visor and through his head and killed him. Um, and even though hummingbird is super small, it's not very heavy. You take mass and you accelerate it to a fast enough speed, it still becomes a bullet. Something small accelerating. So between the two, inhuman speed, inhuman strength. I think inhuman speed would be still pretty destructive. You can still get a lot of force out of that.
So we've got um, cyborg senses, and we've got inhuman speed. +1 to athletics to dodge, +1 to initiative, +1 free zone of movement. All
Okay.
right. And that's 2. So we're up to 3. Where's my notes? Notes. Add construction notes. -1. Cyborg senses. -2. Inhuman speed. Yeah, so it's 6 refresh for the speed, recovery, and strength, and we can give you all 3. You got your healing factor. We can edit that later. Oh, no, 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 no. Can't give you inhuman strength. I have to give you inhuman toughness. Right, the armor.
Okay.
So that's 6, 7. Yep, and the rest have to be little Batman. No, yeah, okay, so add.
And then we're going to use one of the or skills, the one of the clone commandos or clone troopers.
I don't think you're gonna have room for it.
Okay.
So the shuttle package takes up 2, and that's flight and life support.
Shuttle package. Okay. He can fly.
When you think about it, a space marine who can't get to the enemy ship to board it is kind of useless.
True. Good point.
And life support. So, space,
He can survive in vacuum.
bottom of the ocean, you don't care.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So you have 1 refresh. So your gunslinging badassitude is going to have to mostly be from your skills. It typically looks like shoot,
I think with cyborg
athletics,
senses, inhuman
military.
speed, inhuman recovery, inhuman toughness, flight, and life support, he's already pretty BA.
Yeah. You're a minor league Superman.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, Carol. That's a kind of character, right? You fly, you
Yeah.
fight, and you can shoot, and you've got
Yeah.
super senses on some level, and it's all like technology based off of your cyborg, your nanite matrix, but your your galactic level cybernetics, and
A
compared to
little like
other,
Steel from the Superman comics.
yeah, very much so, except his is all exoskeleton and yours is endoskeleton.
hmm
Uh, yeah, where he can't beat Superman, but he does similar things, and they hang out and they get along.
Right.
Um, so shoot, athletics, military. We need shoot, athletics, probably fight. Sometimes you want people to live. So military, notice, physique. We need you to be tough. Um, investigation. So investigation. Survival is definitely a big military skill. I'm such an English. It's such an English major. Vote. Hmm. Can't give you context. Your character story doesn't allow it. Well, yeah. Actually, you might have known a lot of the Starfallen, but maybe not. They're mostly criminals. Nyeh. So we need survival. Pilot. That's where we're. Need to be a pretty good pilot. So
Oh, I would imagine being a space marine, having the ability to know how to fly things once you get to them, if you need to, would be necessary. How many of these, the savior complex, you're talking about empathy, rapport? Any of the skills that would work with that?
it can even make you a Christian. How does that skill build look? Oh, something instead of ride, like burglary? Yeah, that's probably actually better. More in
Yeah,
turn
I would say.
to. So wait, what did I just do? Empathy. So burglary, empathy, report, ride, survival. That is
How
a
about
world-class
lore?
badass.
He doesn't
Not so
have lore.
much. Nope.
What is ride?
Horses, neck beasts, Clatuvian pterodactyls.
Oh,
Not everything people get around on runs on fuel cells.
gotcha. Okay. Uh, as a delta operator, is I think his stealth. Oh man. And yeah, physique is tough, but if he already has inhuman toughness, I think wouldn't his stealth be technically higher than his physique in this build?
Oh, and we forgot about deceit. All right, because you have to be able to pull off a secret identity. I'll say you're not a good horseman. You grew up in a city. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Okay. I like that better. I mean, I'm thinking is Delta Force combined with Space Marine, shoot, athletics, fight, military, notice, stealth. Yes, he's already inhuman toughness. Definitely would need deceit and empathy, rapport, survival. The Delta and um, space marine, would his survival be higher than his pilot? Would they need him to be able to survive in hostile conditions more than being able to fly something?
First of all, probably not.
That, I suppose, like the technology, the tech being able to help him survive. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
If you were Marine Force Recon, we would juggle this. You know, we would pick different. But a Delta are what's called fast entry boys. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fast entry boys. They're not. They most of them were rangers before they got sent to selection, but that's not their job. Their job is to get 3 headshots before they're done kicking the door.
Right. Do it fast, do it quiet, and be gone.
Change burglary to craft. Improvise, adapt, overcome. All right. So what do you think of your concept?
I think it looks good. I think he looks like a fun character to play.
Okay.
And I'm sure we can get all kinds of trouble in 22nd century Earth with a band of 10,000 returning super soldier criminals.
Hey, up to, statistics being what they are, probably only 40 to 60% of them are unrehabilitated.
Uh-huh. And their galactic war PTSD isn't going to cause any problems at all.
Nope. So you've got a setting where you've got low-level superpowers, and you have just a whole lot of people with low-level superpowers who are bad guys. So the excuses for super soldiering, the Starfallen hero. I mean, I didn't mean to turn this into like a capes and spandex kind of story. Um, but there's going to be part of this. Some of that's probably going to show up.
Right.
If you decide you're the kind of guy who, but we've got an hour left, so now we can do things to you. So the GM offers you 2 fate points for Starfallen hero because you got to survive landfall.
I accept.
Okay. And away we. So I need a roll percentage for me. So just roll D100, and if it's over 70, you land on land.
Just hack our D100.
Hack our D100.
30. Splash.
Okay. Oceans by size, largest to smallest.
Well, we know which one's the largest.
But if I just smack you down in the middle of the Pacific, then it's basically all over. All right, give me another percentage.
Same D100. I was
Booger. Yeah. All right. So, before reentry, before reentry obscures wraps your world in a corona of hellfire, you see that you're headed to splash down in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
lovely.
Ain't I a stinker? And of course, there's really not any land to hit, and you're coming in at a substantial velocity. So I don't think that you're. I'm. I need to change the page color. It's just blue. Board color blue. There, I made a map for you.
Okay,
We should
great.
pick. We should find a picture for you too. We should make you an icon. Oh, I'm gonna be horrible. I'm gonna steal Casper Van Dien from Starship Troopers. Why not? Well, I'll let you find your own icon. I'll be good. I'll be good. Well, I'm sure I'll find something in my library that we can use temporarily.
For sure. We'll figure it out.
There, sploosh. All
Okay.
right. So, you end up about. Well, I think your pod evaporates as it floats back to the surface, and as soon as it gets in contact with atmosphere, it begins to evaporate.
Okay.
Hooray! Go gadget, fictional space materials. Um, Of course, not only does it protect you from reentry and provide you with 17 years of life support as you are hauled around, but it conveniently gets out of the way.
Okay.
As soon as you land. Now what?
Doesn't become a floating pod. Just happen to be usable.
Nope,
Um.
because the Nomians are mercilessly ironic. They're not mercifully ironic.
Uh-huh. Merciful.
And in the galactic, everybody has to deal with the Nomians. They're just too useful, but everybody hates and mistrusts them because, man, they're evil.
Okay. Well, first thing would be to figure out how far from his cyborg senses recorded as he was coming in, his distance from
No,
the
totally blinded by re-entry flare.
well,
Like you're
that
not
he would have.
blind, but you couldn't take in any data. Oh, you want to calculate from what you saw before re-entry? That's doable.
Yeah.
Scholarship.
World mediocre.
You have no clue.
Okay. Well, his inhuman speed and inhuman recovery, combined with his inhuman toughness and flight, oh, why can't he just fly up out of the water and get to a level altitude to be able to see where there might be something and have his cyborg senses figure out where he may need to go based on his memory of Earth's
You don't need to
geography?
breathe. You can fly to orbit. I don't. You can fly to orbit if you've got the strength.
Okay.
Although in general, I was mostly thinking your flight would be a little more like the Mandalorians than Superman. You know,
Okay.
like
That's small bursts.
yeah, you can
A
fly
certain amount of jump juice.
you can fly about as well as humans run. You know, you've got at max maybe 4 or 5 hours in you, and then you're gonna really need a nap.
Right. Okay. Well, I think, this would be uh, this would be an appropriate time for him to figure out, to use some of that 4 or 5 hours of effort required to find out where he is. Maybe not all of that because he's still going to have to swim, but at least he'll give him a direction to swim.
Well, I don't know if swimming
The
is
other
really worth your time when you can fly, but this really does have the capacity to kill you, or I wouldn't have given you the fate points. Yeah, it's a boring way to die because it's just I don't have the strength to get to not drowning before I drown. Is kind of death by ocean. Plenty of
right.
time to pray on the way, but
Uh-huh. Okay. Well,
I mean, unless you could think of a way to not get where you drowned or fall to crush depth when you know, because you're inhumanly tough, but you're not invincibly tough. You know, you're not you're not going 4 miles down where it's like 250 tons per square inch and surviving that.
sure. Obviously, we got to figure out a direction to go. So if he has no idea where he is, he has to figure out
Yep.
where he's going to go. If he can frog like frog hop, I mean, if he can float. Right? Where he's not like so densely heavy that he sinks. Right? He's still able to essentially float, or is he just going to sink as soon as he stops doing anything?
That's a fascinating question. Which do you think would be more fun?
I would love for him to be able to float like a human
I love that
because
pause. This is like you hear my answer in my head. You're just like, no, please, can I float?
I mean, uh, humans float. They they can tread water. They can float on their back. There's lots of ways that you can conserve effort with, your body, life support system, being able to generate enough air internally to cause buoyancy within his own body's now cyborg enhanced lungs. Um, I say float. I say he's the
I'll
ability to
be
float.
I will be nice. You have enough flight endurance basically to make it to the moon. given your not Superman, but your enhanced speed and your enhanced endurance and recovery, your character can't fly to Mars without assistance
That's
of
still a
or
long
some
way.
kind of right, but you can get to the moon under your own power. So yeah. So the only way that I'm going to be able to kill you right now is to attack you with a giant squid. So I'm going to totally attack you with a giant squid. Release the Kraken!
Because you just do.
Because it's a it's a semi superhero story. There have to be kaiju.
Uh-huh.
Oh, come on. You would. I just did.
Oh. Oh my. Oh. And squid to attack me.
Working on it. I'm working on
Mm-hmm.
it.
You didn't have to do the he can fly to the moon thing. We could have like frog hopped this. He can float, like
Okay.
fly for a
Yeah.
little bit, float, fly for a little bit, float.
Well, no, I
But I'm
do
okay
think your
fighting a giant
character.
squid.
I do think your character can probably fly to the moon. I think that'd be that
Yeah,
the ability to get between a planet and its satellites seems like a kind of thing that a Marine would have to be able to do. You know, if you were a
sure.
space
Okay.
Marine.
I mean,
Um, but you're not like you weren't imprisoned for crimes as a fighter pilot, or this would be different. But yeah, maybe the you can fly at a couple hundred miles an hour. You don't have supersonic flight. You can fly at like World War II airplane speed for about as long as you can run, so 3 or 4 hours. So that gives you a good 1,200-mile range. And if you hadn't landed in the Pacific, that would have been enough.
well, it is like ginormous as a water, as a body of water.
And I think unless you get creative with the use of fate points, you're still dead. So I won't release the Kraken, but you do have the quiet, peaceful, inevitable death by you know by mortality, right? By just not being God, in terms of trying to fly and or swim out of the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So let's do your first hop then. Athletics, and you get a +1.
I So like you're saying the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Pretty
Um,
much, yeah. Dead middle of the Pacific Ocean, the worst possible place you could have landed.
the place, yeah, where okay, all right. So the one spot in the entire world where you're actually, if you were sitting there, you might be closer to the International Space Station than any other humans.
You could fly from there. I mean,
Well,
there are cities in space. You could give that a try. Maybe you'll make it.
how, how far is it to the moon?
Moon is roughly 250 is about 200,000 kilometers, 200,000 miles. Orbit is 54 miles, 54 to like 150 some miles. So actually, yeah, flying to a space station would be a better solution for you than flying than flying to land. You have an interesting first story.
Yeah, I'm going to pay a fate point to declare that Alexander looks up from the ocean and sees a space station, a rather large space station in the sky, and through his um, cyborg senses internal HUD, he calculates that he has the flight distance to reach it.
Hey, I'm still going to make you work for it.
Okay.
So I need, let's see, I need, you got to roll athletics, and every athletics will count as an attack against your physique. So it's a catch 22. The better the better you do, the faster you go, the harder it is on your body, and that's just how it is.
Okay. So I'm going to roll athletics, and I'm not quite sure I understood the mechanic. You're going to say that I'm rolling against my own armored physique, the stress. Okay.
I mean, you can
So
take a fair amount
using
of
a
physical stress, and you can heal from physical stress very easily, but you still, flying to orbit is non-trivial for you.
okay. So all
But
right,
it's your
here we
best
go.
bet to survive.
For sure. Okay. He's going to roll athletics. He rolled good. I'm going to take off that. How do we get rid of that?
Um, uh, the, in the options, click notes. You disable your notes. Or hints.
I don't see it.
Let's see what I could do. Why is that on my back? Oh, I clicked the button. That is really an excellent. I haven't gotten you to. I haven't let you see that yet. I haven't gotten you to watch that yet, have I?
What's that?
Baekdong Su, Musa Baekdong
No,
Su, Warrior Baekdong Su.
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, I have to get you. I have to get you a copy. I have to get you a copy of that. Um, it was like the highest ranked. It's a martial arts soap opera. set around the time of our Revolutionary War, based on an actual nobleman named Baekdong Su, who was the leader of a gang of semi-noble martial arts bums who foiled a multiple assassination attempts against the royal family in Korea in Joseon around the time of our Revolutionary War. Also, he helped write
Wow.
the Muye. He's one of the 3 or 4 attributed authors of the Muyo Muye Dobo Dong. Yeah, the Korean Book of War, the
Okay.
18th century martial arts manual. He
Mm-hmm.
wrote it. He helped write it. So real guy around General Washington's time, um, and they turn it into this just totally badass, unapologetically cheesy, totally badass kung fu soap opera.
That's
Based off of Korean manga. It's just ridiculously fun.
cool.
And it's a one-shot series, so there's like 27 episodes and the story's done. And it played in Korea, I want to say like '09 or something like that. And it's just ridiculously fun.
Well, I'll have to put it on the list of things to watch when I have time.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Rosebud and I watched it. If you the first season, the first episode's a little chunky if you don't understand Confucian society, like if you haven't studied a lot of Korean culture, because you're like, if you don't know Confucianism, wait, the father is claiming to commit a crime that he didn't commit so that he can save the life of the crown prince. Why is that noble? And why is that, why is that good? And why does his whole family have to die in order for that to work?
Right.
And it's because Confucianism, uh, and it's all because of they don't explain it because everybody in Korea already gets it,
For sure. Yeah.
but if you can get through that first one, they have they have pirate ninjas. They have martial artist pirate ninjas as their bad guys. They're they're so over the top. It's great. I mean, it's just fun isn't bad, but if fun was bad, this series would be a sin. It's just ridiculous. Um, but somebody made it started off as a manga, and somebody made and the manga was so popular that they ended up making a TV series of it.
Wow.
The TV
Cool.
series ended up being like the most popular show in Korea that year. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So let's take a look at your character sheet. See if I can turn all of the helpful hints off. Settings, rollable letter, show fate point, show help info on rolls. No. No. So we unclick that. There we go. Now you should be able to roll without all that garbage.
Okay.
So
Well,
physique,
anyway,
defense against good.
so and then you are gonna roll physique, or I am.
You are. You're defending against, it's a marathon. You're defending against yourself.
Okay.
You're pushing your body way harder than your body wants to go, and it's can you stay loose? Can you keep your pace? Can you survive your own attempts?
Okay. Rolled also a good, so matched it.
Matched it. All right. So we don't have a weapons value associated with this. All right. So tie, the attacker gets an aspect. So we're gonna put fatigued on you.
Okay.
We've had a long trip in system, man.
Yep. I get it. Okay.
All right. Fatigue. Excellent. All right.
Okay.
And so you're a couple miles up and gaining speed as the atmospheric friction stops slowing you down. Getting colder, but your life support package kicks in, so you're perfectly comfortable.
Hmm.
Und now was?
Well, he's going to
Uh,
continue
Onward and
to.
upward. Yep. So your next roll. Don't forget to roll in human speed because you get a +1 to your athletics.
Oh, so I roll the. Do I roll it from the inhuman speed or I roll it from athletics?
That's okay. So you have to defend. You have to make a physique defense against superb.
Well, so if we go back and look at the past roll, if we would
Oh
have
yeah.
used
So
the +1, wouldn't have been there wouldn't have been an aspect because it would have been a
for
great
one
versus a
stress, it'd
good.
be one stress. Yep. So first stress box would fill in.
So like the athletics would have been a great and the physique would have been a good.
Yep. So that would have been a first stress box.
Okay.
First. Yep.
So then I'm rolling physique against superb, and he rolled down
Fifth
3.
and final 6. You're gonna take an aspect. That's a 6 stress hit. Plus, you want to
Oh,
spend one of your 2
I thought
remaining fate points for a reroll.
I thought that was okay. I thought that was good. I thought
Because the
okay, I had
athletics
the wrong
goes up to
mechanics.
superb. Yeah,
I did the wrong mechanics. I had it backwards. I had it inverted in my head.
no worries.
I would like to spend a fate point for a reroll.
What aspect would justify such a reroll?
Um, Cyborg super soldier.
Okay. Reroll. Better. 3 stress hit. First and third stress boxes filled in.
Okay. Whew. I totally had the mechanics of those rolls backwards in my head.
No worries.
So now I really want the athletics to roll down and the physique to roll up. Now that I got the
I wish I
mechanics
was
right.
flying. Yeah, but you still have to catch. You still have to catch something that's orbiting the sun, orbiting the planet every like 26 minutes. So you need all the speed you got.
Yeah. All right. So still moving upwards. All right. Here we go.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Oh. Oh goodness. Okay. That's 4.
Yep. So you've got your first, third, and fourth physical stress box filled in. All right, keep on pushing. You can see, you can see the space station. It's a big one. It's like 30 kilometers wide. big tube, rotating tube. You can see like farms and small cities in it, farms and towns inside the mirrors. You can get there. You know you can get there. Just a little more push. Wolf, kick it in, man. Don't hit the wall. Actually, in this case,
Oh,
literally don't hit the wall because it's big and thick and armored. But
right, yeah. We don't want to go splat.
that would be hilarious. And in this adventure, we make this awesome character and just squish. Okay, we'll roll up a
Against.
new one with everybody else next week. This has been our introductory. Now everybody knows what the setting is, and we can all build a cool backstory and our cool, you know,
Right.
potentially redeemed criminal superheroes and everything. Yay! Yeah. That would. I'm not saying I want your character to die, but if your character does die, I'm gonna laugh my ass.
Yeah, well,
I
me
just,
too.
need some
Yeah,
disambiguation here. It's like,
I know, for
yay,
sure.
go you.
It would be actually for me it would be a, cool story in of itself, just even if he does die in this, um thinking about it as a character, as a story. Terrible way to go, but we
Would be a
learn more about
hilarious
the setting.
YouTube short. Yeah.
Yeah, the YouTube short. Not exactly the way you want it to end, but splat.
Yeah, it's like I forget the name of the YouTube shorts. That's all about the stormtroopers left over at Endor as the little cannibalistic Ewoks come, start hunting them through the forest. They turned the Ewoks into horror movie like protagonists,
I
and
haven't
they make it
seen
work.
that.
It's hilarious. I mean, just the concept. But if you think about it, right, the Ewoks were more than willing to eat Han and Luke and Leia. They got no problem eating people. People kind of gloss over that because space teddy bears, but no.
Oh, I forgot that.
And so some Star Wars fans did a short fan fiction of stormtroopers left behind after the Battle of Endor on the forest, and what a total horror movie that would be for them.
That would be a horror movie for them. Okay. Anyway, wow.
That's really good athletics, man.
Yeah, but he's moving, but he's, oh goodness. Okay.
The more
He,
strain. Nice. So second stress box. So you fill in stress boxes 1, 2, 3, and 4, Supermaning your way up to a low stable orbit, which is thousands of miles closer to you than actually getting this shore would have been.
right?
Oh gosh. All right, and so now, how are you going to get them to open the door? Because, right, the Starfall is still going on. You can still see more and more pods burning through the atmosphere. Your cyborg senses is filling with with radio transmissions, news broadcasts, that kind of thing. Of
Mhm.
of everywhere from fishermen calling in panic to independent news broadcasters saying it's the end of the world. Sandwich sign people are going absolutely knucking futs, and so mass panic around the world, or is it an alien attack? What's going on? And in this, you have to fly up to the space station's from the airlock, knock on the door, and politely ask to get let in. Are you going with provoke or rapport?
At this point, I don't think he's going to use either of them. I think he's
Just
going to use his craft and his ability as a space marine to actually. No, he's going to use military. He's going to use his knowledge of military and his training as a space marine in boarding and overcoming ship systems
One
to.
problem is that the GM says automatic fail and gives you another fate point because you're Starfallen. And have we mentioned that they don't put you in any clothes when they shove you in your little pod? You don't have C4 to breach. You don't have any tools to use. You're you just hit orbit in your birthday suit. That's got to kind of sting. And
Okay.
so there's no breaching chargers or lockpicks, etc.
Well, I suppose I would like to. Wow, didn't quite think about that.
No, no. If you had your kit, we'd be sure, like, one fate point for, one quick resources roll, and slap a decoding bar or breaching charge on that airlock. I'm getting in, but nope.
So you're giving me a fate point for that, right?
Oh yeah. So you reach for your breaching charge and slap your, birthday suited hip and go, oh, Shad's butt. Uh,
How did I? Oh, I did use. Okay. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that automatic habit of gonna go grab it, realize, oh, I'm not wearing any clothes. Um, I don't have any of my gear. Well, how about oh goodness gracious. Well, at this point, there's no can't deceit your way. Um, hopefully you
I
can
was just going
only.
for a walk and I accidentally closed the door behind me. Can you let me back in?
Right, right, exactly.
What do you
It's
mean
space.
spacesuit? What's a spacesuit? Uh, just a little. I'm in my EVA birthday suit. What are you talking about? Um,
It's my clear EVA suit. It's perfectly clear.
yeah.
The Emperor has clothes. He really does.
I think it's going to be good rapport to talk your way in.
I think so. I think that's the only thing. Cause even like empathy, like okay, there's a man outside my window, and maybe somebody be empathetic, but it would just be terrified. Um, not really empathetic at that point.
Not in
Yeah,
the
I'm
middle of the
pretty sure.
Starfall, no.
No, no, okay. So yes, I think rapport based on his ability to use his cyborg senses to communicate with the space station and explain his predicament and ask him to open up. Ask him to let me in, pretty please.
I can't. Can you expand a little bit for the audience on what explain your predicament would be, Mister Hanging outside of your space station naked? I can't wait to hear this.
uh, I would. I mean, the element of I have almost like being using that idea of not having any idea, like trying to use deceit to also say that he's not sure what happened. He is here, and this isn't what he was supposed to be doing, and suddenly he's now here and trying to figure out. I just need to get in and figure out what happened because the last I remember that was this, and he could explain the last he remembers he was in this place at this time on Earth in this place, and this is the last time I remember Earth, and now he's here, and now I'm outside of your space station, and I don't have any idea what's going on or what's happened now in Earth, between the last time and this time, and I just need to figure out what's going on.
Pardon me, I seem to be lost. Do you have a map?
What's that?
Pardon me, I seem to be lost. Do you have a map? So you're going to try to use
Not so much.
deceit to hide your association with the Starfall going on?
No, I was just gonna use like rapport to try to um,
Okay.
talk his
Talk your way
way.
into the station.
Well, yeah,
Report. Yep, go for it.
and that was not helpful. I'd have to use both fate points just to get into the station, won't I?
Yeah. I can't wait to so how how will your aspects help you talk your way into a space station past a totally freaked out air traffic control officer that you've managed to contact?
I would use the. Oh, is there a high story concept? Anything that he would know of, that we would know of,
It hasn't been revealed yet.
has not been revealed, so I can't use
How
that
would you
one.
describe the idea of this quest?
Um, how would I? Redemption of the Fallen. Starfallen, redeeming.
Starfallen Gospel. So you're saying your character needs a little grace? Give me a break, lady. Just open the door. It's cold out here.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, that's we're gonna use that one. I forgot what happens when you get to 0 fate points.
That's what
Um,
your base refresh. Then you're just at my mercy because you can't buy anything off.
and
Um, so Starfallen hero with a savior complex, or unconquered protector of the innocent.
sorry, one of my kids was asking me a question. Um, I would say the unconquered protector of the innocent, in that he's trying to protect, trying to hasn't been conquered, hasn't been defeated in anything so far, so he's trying to not be defeated by something as simple as vacuum, or actually not the vacuum. Trying to be, he won't be defeated by this airlock door.
Mm, okay. Um,
Does that work?
that'll get you.
Okay. Whew. I didn't die. I didn't go splat. Or Alexander didn't go splat against the side of the space station, or splatting down back on the Pacific.
All right. Um,
I will be right
so
back.
we've
Sorry, I needed to get my water.
no problem.
All right. So what trouble will now a naked man inside a space station, a 30-kilometer space station, be up to?
Working on you. I'm working on you because I'm pretty sure we just found your um. I'm pretty sure we just found your character's version of Metropolis. You know, a city that you can hero around in. And it also kind of works pretty well with um. It also kind of works kind of well with the low level Superman and also your space marining. Like your skills work well here.
Okay.
In a second, I'm working on making a page for it. So pretty much. So you're gonna start meeting people, and it's time to start making really good impressions. You know, because you don't want to be dissected in a space lab. So you're probably gonna need a secret identity. I don't know. I mean, your character's read Superman hero comics, etc. But um, you you I'm gonna stop giving you. I'm gonna shut up. You know, you've got things that you can you've got things that you can do. You've got things you need to do. Yeah, you can figure out what dangers you're going to face, or I can just throw them at you. You know. So they let you into a cargo loading dock, and there's a handful of space-suited cargo workers. You know, kind of trembling. You know, holding like welding and moving equipment. Defensively and kind of huddled closer together for comfort as the bay repressurizes and you collapse naked onto the shuttle bay door floor. Um, you know, and in fairness, it was kind of a trip to get up here, but your stress is cleared. You don't have any aspects, so you can, you know, it's gonna take you a couple minutes for you to shake it off. It's good to really move for the first time in 17 plus years. So, you know, if you feel your grip on sanity slightly returning, that's
All
always a
right.
good thing.
That is a good thing. Um, yeah, 17 years of not being able to move would definitely be problematic.
Yep. It's I know I just flew in orbit, but I feel like I need to go for a walk.
Does anyone have any pants?
Yeah, so probably rapport would be good, and this is also rapport on a group. So uh, yeah, let's see what kind of an impression you can make.
Yeah, I really need some clothes. Does anyone have any clothes?
I
And
seem to
not
have
in the
misplaced. I seem to have misplaced my ship, also my pants.
no, he would like to get some clothes, but not in the Terminator version of getting clothes.
Right. Yes, nicely. Um,
Nicely. All right, so he's gonna roll rapport. He rolls average. Average rapport.
okay. So they're not worshiping the ground you walk on, but they're willing to hear you out and not try to weld your face.
Well, that's good.
I think that having your face not welded is a plus.
As a plus, yes. Welding torches plus skin, regardless of how many nanites may be underneath there, are not probably a good idea.
Well, even galactic level space nanites cook off eventually.
Yes, indeed. At metal welding temperatures, I'm sure that happens pretty quickly.
Yeah, particularly since they're like carbon and silicon based. It's not a problem. Okay, why don't you make a resources roll for there being clothing available? Nice thing is you don't go through the military and retain any sense of like, you know, modesty. So at least you're not stressing about it.
Right? Yeah. What in the world? Oh, there's apparently no clothing around.
Um, you didn't you you that's impossible. You can't get a -4 off of you can't get -4 off of um yeah, you rolled a 1. You broke even, you got a 1. You get close. Oh, that was
Okay.
rapport. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
you have
rapport.
resources. You have resources as a skill. Don't you? I could have sworn that because I
I
knew
didn't.
super soldiers need gear.
Um.
Heroic physique? No, you don't. Yeah, because you arrived on planet butt naked. That's why I took resources off. That's why. All right. Yep. They don't have any clothes. A
Do you
knight's
have a
tale
blanket? Do you
lines
have a
are
blanket?
going through my head. Anything else for us, Master Nude, or having failed your test, may we be on our way?
I'm gonna call the fact that there is a naked man in this, and other humans, being humans, are going to be more uncomfortable about him being naked than he may be, and they're going to want to have him covered up, even if
Yeah. So, guys, I
he
know I
doesn't want
make
to.
this look good, but there may be ladies present. Wouldn't it be better if I had some pants?
Right? Like, uh, there's going to be that sense of group dynamic of this is not okay, regardless of whatever. Like, the group collective empathy is going to kick in at some point.
So they have you wait in like porta potty, the small laboratory for the building. And they go get you some clothes. Brother. See the little adventures of showing up on planet. I tell ya, underwear. This is no wonder Superman wears his on the outside. If he found some, dang it, that's something. That's something. Brother. So, you meet some dock workers. we can start making random characters here, but
Okay, well, is on the space station in clothes. All good. All good so far. He's going to need to figure out food. I'm sure he's hungry.
so you've met the Docking Bay 94 crew. Now, Tommy Feldman, Robert Ugabe, Tian Vong, and Friedrich Oberheit. And um, so you're kind of okay. They're kind of curious. WTF, mate A, you know? I mean,
Yeah, right.
so are you going to be honest with them? You starting a cover story? What kind of cover story covers? I was hanging outside your space station naked one day, and I thought I'd come in for a walk. I have no idea. You're just gonna tell them the truth. I used to be from Earth, and the aliens got me, and now I'm back. What do you do?
I would say we would use a little bit of uh, telling part of the truth, saying that part of the story until essentially like don't have to tell the middle part about the space marine thing, but the part of being in Delta and doing the orphanage thing and then being in prison and then seeing this person come and a flash and then I woke up in the ocean and I looked up and I just started to fly. Like I don't exactly know. Like he doesn't have to say about what's happening in the middle, because he doesn't know yet how much the people of this earth and this time know about what's happening outside of the planet, outside of this. So he's going to maybe use a little bit of the Delta Force kind of survival and um, this understanding of I don't want to share too much. I don't want to give up too much information, but at the same point, I'm going to create a cover story that is part of the truth, but not the entire truth.
You have one
And say there
problem,
was a
and that is
flash.
that. So you're going to admit to being a 100-year-old. You're now a 180-year-old war criminal.
Not I don't know about admitting to being a war criminal, but telling them that that I was in a room like these things happened and I was I was talking to this person and there was a flash and maybe there was just a debriefing or he would talk about it being a a conversation after this incident happened, and not any of the part of being a war criminal, but just about protecting the innocent and protecting the orphans. And then he was in this room because of conflict that happened, and he was talking to someone, and then there was a flash, and then there's this. Then I essentially flew. So it's one of the part where he's creating a story that's partially true, but not all of the truth, with elements of I don't know what happened or why in this area, which is not the truth, but also making it seem so that the people on these four dock crew are kind of feel bad for him because they are thinking that something happened, but nobody knows exactly what happened. So they have some empathy for him, and at the same time, he is trying to, protect and keep people safe.
Okay.
So he wants to protect them because they're innocent. He doesn't want to get them caught up in anything that's happening as well,
Why
any
don't you
of the
make a
stuff that's happening on the
military
planet.
roll for me?
Okay, I'll make a military roll. Fair.
Okay, so you've got superpowers, and you had a security clearance, and at one point you signed your took us over to the military. If they find out about you, they will use your quote unquote conviction to put you in a lab and take you apart piece by piece so fast it won't even be fun. So, probably going to need a secret identity.
Okay.
So, I'm going to give you a fate point. Did I already give you a fate point for talking for this? Yeah. So you need to talk your way past these guys and into the station in a way that doesn't give away who you used to be, so that you don't have the current version of Delta Force coming to shoot you just enough to make you comply, and then taking you away and putting you in a lab for the rest of your life.
Okay. That makes total sense.
Okay. I mean, I don't want you to think that I'm just picking on you, but I'm also picking on you. Yeah. But this is part of kind of why I've been kind of intrigued about this idea is
Hmm.
one of the biggest challenges for like ex-cons, which was kind of a thought, is the merciless, if that makes any sense.
Maybe explain so that I'm on the
Okay.
same page.
All right. So I do volunteer work with criminals, and one of their
Hmm.
biggest stressors when they get out is how is the world going to react to their publicly available sins versus everybody else's private, non-public sins?
Sure.
You know, can I get a job? Can I get a house? Can I find an apartment? Um, things that are stressors but aren't like potentially life-ending trauma for most people, because most people have not forfeited the public trust. Yeah. So that was something I thought was kind of interesting. It's like, how are you going to deal with, at least on paper, all of the Starfallen are bad guys? How do you sort them out? You know, who's going to give them a chance? Who's not going to give them a chance? That kind of thing. So, secret identity and talking your way into blue collar society on the station. I need deceit, and you can roll rapport for bonuses and then roll deceit. But the deceit's going to have to, but we're looking for at least good to kind of talk your way into the station. And get a starting point for your character. Now that like survival's on the table and you're going to survive, then now we got to look at how. That's my thinking. What you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, for sure. Be
and
the
that'll
create.
probably be
Yeah.
a good
Hmm.
ending point of like you get a secret identity, you work on the docks on the space station, and opportunities may come for you to be heroic.
Okay, so I'm rolling rapport to create aspects to tag for deceit. Okay, so rapport roll 1. I have to announce what I'm trying to accomplish with this roll, or just rolling rapport?
No, just rapport.
Okay, rolling rapport. He gets an
All right,
average rapport.
that gives you one boost. So now let's take a look at what's the seat look like.
Can I roll again for rapport, or just
No,
once? Okay,
just once.
gotcha. Just asking.
Let's save the other fate point for your deceit roll.
All right, deceit roll,
So if we use the
and
aspect from rapport for rapport, and if you can spend a throw a fate point on one of your aspects, then you'll get a great, and your character, um, your character will be capable.
okay. So I am going to spend a fate point on the unconquered protector of the innocent.
Okay. So good deceits. You have a great secret identity. We'll call you. I can't resist putting a GI Joe reference in there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Do that.
So do you have a fake name that spells out GI Joe or GI Joseph or something, Josephson or something, so we can get GI Joe?
Oh, uh, Gregory. Gregory something Joseph. Gregory Ivan Joseph.
All right. That kind of covers an introductory adventure, and I think that I think that ought to more than be an introductory kind of like how everybody got to Earth for everybody else, so we don't have to redo that for everyone. We can just kind of assume they too got to Earth and survived their starfall, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
So congratulations on your adventure and your survival and establishing your not quite Superman secret identity. I think you did good. And congratulations on now having pants. So,
Yes, he now has pants.
I think that made a decent first edition comic book. And now you've got the idea. You've been introduced to the high concept behind something I want to do for a future novel. And now having you power gaming weasels run all over my storyline, I'm gonna have to slap together a whole lot more world building and stuff just to keep up.
Love it.
I will put this
That
stuff on YouTube.
so that was really fun for a couple reasons. Number one, the aspect of bringing a person like from Earth into like space science fiction and all of the things that could possibly happen there, and then sending them back, like going from future back, and then how that could turn good and bad, and also then the aspect of like you're talking about they're criminals. There are now all of these Starfallen criminals coming in, and how that is going to radically change aspects of like culture and society, and what is going to happen with all of the things that society thinks about all of that, what all of the problems that could come into that. And at the same time, okay, now Alexander is on a space station, and he is on his metropolis, as you say, but then there's also all of these other people that he knows. If he understands about what's happening with all of those other Starfallen, that they're all criminals, he knows that they're going to be some really bad people. And like anything, whether it's money or technology, the tool is only an extension of the person using it. And a really bad person with powerful tools is just going to be a even more bad person, even more
And then
powerfully
there's going to
bad
be,
person. And so
and there's probably going to be a lot of people like you, hanging out, going, can I have some pants? In need of help rebuilding their lives. And kind of one of the challenges of the ministry and in the question itself is figuring out who's who.
yeah, that's
Um,
fun.
yeah. And then there's going to be kind of some low-level superhero-ish action, and some future society with like a colonized star system, um, and a whole bunch of other tangles.
Yeah, that's fun. That's really fun. And whether you knew it
I
whether you knew it or not, Superman is my favorite comic book character.
oh, and we've basically made you're halfway between GI Joe and Superman.
Hmm.
That seems to work for you. So,
I think so. Serendipitously so.
I think we're probably going to have to get you some kind of like bat jet or something because you're not. It's a little stressful for you to just fly to everywhere, anywhere on the earth in an instant. You're not quite Superman. You are much closer to Steel.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Which
how
actually makes
modern
this a
comics.
story way more interesting, because the original version of Superman, he became he was
Oh
it
yeah,
became
Golden
boring.
Age Superman couldn't fly. Didn't have heat vision. Um, he literally leapt buildings. Right, he appeared to fly because he could jump so far. Um, yeah, Golden Age Superman. I'm familiar.
Yeah, but he also, at some point, his character actually started to wane, in popularity because he never lost. He never had anything that um, made him vulnerable. And it wasn't
It's
until he had vulnerability and he had an actual something that actually caused him pain and suffering and stress and that balance that he became even more popular. Um,
yeah, the good Superman stories involve things that he can't just punch. He can't
mhm,
just one punch, and involve things that and involve the areas where he's as vulnerable or more vulnerable than us, right? Relationships, ethical decisions. It goes all the way back to the 78 movie, right? I mean, yeah, he's got all the power, but does he save California or Lois?
mhm.
And that's a real decision for him because, yeah. Um, so, but you
So
don't have that
being
problem.
closer to
You're not that
steel,
strong.
right?
Yeah.
But being closer to steel makes the possibility of additional problems and stories and things more exciting.
Yeah, and you can run into people who are stronger than you, right? Faster than you. So you'll have actual problems to solve in terms of gaming,
Mhm.
or smarter, or more ruthless. I mean, it's not just Lex Luthor versus your physical invulnerability. Um, Did you ever read much X-Men?
Some, but not a lot. Some.
In the 80s and early 90s, they had a character named Rogue,
Mhm.
whose real mutant ability was if she touched somebody with her bare skin, she absorbed their powers and abilities and personality and memories. But she couldn't control the power, like she couldn't turn it off, and she couldn't control whether or not it was permanent. So she had stolen some and or most of the personality and powers of Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. So she was basically a southern personality female, low power Superman. Flight, flight strength and near invulnerability. Unfortunately, her clothes weren't invulnerable, and the psychic shock of absorbing people basically knocked her on her butt. So she was her own kryptonite because she had an uncontrollable power. And that was a really good mix. But because she only absorbed some, she wasn't invincible. You could punch her into a mountain and she would stay down. But she'd get back up again in an hour or two and be irritated. But she did the Superman thing, but with vulnerability and like kind of. I'm pretty sure somebody at Marvel was like, "No, I'm actually from Kansas. Let me tell you what actual farm people look like. What actual Southerners are." And so it's kind of a slightly more vulnerable, self-vulnerable Southern Belle Superman. And I thought she was just a brilliant character. She was a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, no, I think this works. I can't wait to see what the other gamers are going to do with this concept, right? Of making criminals, turning their criminality into their superpower, and then having the redemption involve uh, how they deal with this very issue. Because yeah, in order to get sold, everybody's a bad guy. And that was the other thing that was Warden was going to be a lot like this, but much more into like the swords and horses fantasy because that's the only kind of level that they could sustain. Yeah. So these are two kind of flip sides of the same campaign that I was interested in telling.
Oh, sure.
Um, this is just the more sci-fi version because you know you're there's there's adventures on every star system, in top of just the Superman thing.
So
Because one,
as a GM, are you expecting that gamers are going to play together, or is this going to be a lot mostly of like individual story arcs? Like Alexander will have his story arc, and then whatever character Cookman has in this will be more individual things, or are you expecting that at some point all the characters will all meet up and form our own Justice League?
I know, for to make it a game, it's gonna have to be the Justice League thing, right? I just don't have enough free nights to have. It would be interesting to let you Superman and to let Rosebro whatever Rosebro's gonna do. And man, I can't wait to find out what Rosebro's gonna do because that's gonna be off the chain. But I just don't know what that's gonna look like. Um, it's gonna be anywhere from the JLA, the super squeaky clean Silver Age heroes, or it could be anywhere between that and the Suicide Squad. um, where like you're the one good guy, you know, sentenced by the government to ride herd on all these reprobates, and you're all expendable. Here's your next impossible mission. Go. Um,
Right.
both both of those have worked very well in the comic book world, so I don't know. It's gonna and I'm not entirely sure where Cookman and Waltzing's brains are gonna take this. And I'm really curious where Gabriel's gonna. I'm really curious where Gabriel's going to take this because he's talked about joining in games sometimes on the weekends. So I'm gonna have to get him up to speed because he likes to play like Sith Lords in the start, right? So he's probably gonna edge things much more rapidly towards Suicide Squad than JLA. Which
Well.
there are the team up drama, right? This is kind of what makes Batman and Superman stories interesting. Is
Hmm.
if Batman wasn't so darn helpful, we're pretty sure that Superman would be locking him up. I mean, yeah, they get along, but
Right. Yeah.
and there's more than once they've come to open blows in the comics over the differences in their enforcement policy, shall we say? Yep. So I'm gonna put this on YouTube so everybody knows kind of what the story is gonna look like because every character, wrapping up, every character is going to be a major criminal who gets sold to the aliens, and the Nomians are sadistic, hyperjudicial, hypocritical a-holes who like to modify people in ways that kind of mock and torture them with their own crimes because that appeals to their merciless sense of justice. And then, how did you take your modification in the Valorian Empire? How did you make a life? And then when the Valorian Empire, fell, then you became one of the Starfallen, and what you gonna do about it? So I like a lot of the character questions that I get to ask with this storyline. A lot of them appeal to me,
They're fun. They're fun.
and
Absolutely.
and I think we can have a big variety of characters. You know, Once I've got a group, once I know what everybody's character is, I can like start mixing and matching aspects and looking at what would a campaign look like. Like, what's a big mission that would require all of them? And we'll see. No. All right.
Well, I'm
So,
excited to see all of the rest of the characters and their powers and how we're going to put it all together and see some of the ways that the story will expand.
yeah, we've got your combination Metropolis and Fortress of Solitude up there in orbit.
Hmm.
Yeah, combination Watchtower and Metropolis. We just put them in the same place. We put your Metropolis in orbit. Now you don't have to go to the Watchtower.
Right.
All right. You have a good night, sir. I will get this up on YouTube for everybody else.
Sounds great, Bruce. Thanks for the game. That was really fun.
Yeah. God bless. And thanks for
You too.
gaming. I kind of needed that this week.
Me too.
Peace.